Money matters. As you know, my channel is called Mortgages and Money Matters, but why does money matter? Today, I'm going to talk about the top 3 things that you need to consider of why money really does matter. I mean, at the end of the day, it isn't talked about in schools, it isn't talked about at universities, and no one actually knows how to manage their money. Why is that, and why is it so important? Now, as you know, I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm also an accountant and an investor. And it's really, really important to know how to manage your money in order to save for that deposit, sort your credit out, be better with your money. At the end of the day, there are 3 main things that you're probably going to do with your money. You're going to spend it, aren't you? You're going to save it and possibly invest it. But if you don't understand how your money can work for you, you'll spend the rest of your life working for your money. I'll say that again. If you don't understand how your money can work for you, you'll spend the rest of your life working for your money. Now, it's a massive topic of why money matters, and I'd really appreciate if you like this video to click like, to subscribe to my channel, to have a look at some of the other videos and put comments. If there's anything you want to know around mortgages and money matters, please put in a comment asking to talk about that subject. And then I will do a video on it. But let's talk about why money matters. Now, I remember when I was little, and the first time I remember what money was about, I used to get 50 pence pocket money, and I used to go and spend it and get pineapple chunks. And then the next thing I think I remember when it comes to money is I used to get pocket money. I had chores that I had to do around the house, and I used to get pocket money every week. And a lot of my friends would also get pocket money. I don't know if they had to do chores or not, to be honest, I can't remember. But they would get pocket money every week, and we'd always go shopping in town. And when we went, I would just walk around the shops and look at things, and I'd never really spend my money. I might spend £1 here and there, but that was about it. Everybody else wanted to go to McDonald's and buy a McDonald's meal, but I suppose, well, I was a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since I was 5. So a lot of my friends would all go to McDonald's, and that's what they'd do. Buy, a Happy Meal or whatever it was, burger, the lot. But because they didn't actually do veggie burgers all those years ago, I was quite lucky, I suppose, because I thought, okay, I've got this £5, has to last me the whole week. Is there anything that I really want to spend that money on? So I'd spend £1 on get myself a milkshake, 99p milkshake, and then the £4 I'd save. And that's what I do every week. I was always one of those people that would look at my money and think, do I really want to spend this? And I suppose that's how I was able to, at the age of 22, when I graduated from uni, save up for a deposit and buy my first flat. I've always had that kind of mindset. But it isn't that easy. And there's been times where, I've worked at certain jobs and I've spent money on clothes or going out socialising with my friends, and I've spent more than I would like to. But because I bought as young as I did, my mindset was, well, the rent that everybody else was paying is probably 3 times as much as what my mortgage is. So I've got that buffer. I also had the mindset of, I had all my direct debits set out, for my credit cards, if I had a loan, obviously the mortgage, and, all the utility bills and all that kind of thing. And I'd always say, I remember having this conversation with my dad, as long as I can cover my bills, I'm good. So I went through a stage where I would literally just spend everything I earned. It didn't bother me because I was able to pay, make payments every single month, cover all my direct debits, as I said, so I didn't see it as a problem. But it was, because at the end of the day, I never had any money aside put in savings. My credit cards, there was a time where I just used to pay the minimum payment. And it was okay when they were on interest-free, but once the interest-free period ended, I didn't look at moving the credit cards. Sometimes I didn't even realise, because the direct debit was literally just set up for that. And then I started reviewing my direct debits, my subscriptions, and there were things that I was paying for that I didn't even use. And with the credit card, what I actually did was I divided my credit card by, depending on the size of the balance, by either 12 or 24. And I actually upped the direct debit by that amount. So I knew by the end of the year, within 12 months or within 2 years, I'd have paid those balancings off. And that's how I started going about it. I started reviewing all my subscriptions and made sure I'd paid those off as well. At the end of the day, if you don't understand how a credit card works and how the interests on it, and also, I could have been making overpayments on my mortgage. I would literally just pay the amount I had to pay. The mortgage was for 25 years. I thought I'd be fine. So that's what I did. I didn't put any money aside for savings because I figured, I've got a pension, so I'd be fine. But back then, when I didn't have kids and a husband and all these extra expenses I have now, I really wish that I'd put more money aside. I'm a lot more structured with my finance now. I have a financial tracker, and I prefer to do financial tracking rather than budgeting. So what I mean by that is I actually track what I'm spending, and I have like a forecast as well. So I actually forecast how much money I need at what points in time in order to do it. What bills are coming up, when they're coming out, and I add it all into my tracker. I put money down every time I spend something. I actually track it, and then that way, one, I'm now more aware of what I spend, but I'm also aware of when I need money and what periods. Now, obviously, if you're employed, that's great because then you just get your monthly salary and you can divvy that up. Maybe 60% is bills, and then 20% could be savings and 20% in investing, or however you want to do it. But when you're self-employed like myself, you really have to make sure if there are certain bills coming up, how many mortgages do I have to do, how many sales or leads or whatever do I need in order to get that. So that's something really important. The other thing is, what is your end goal? For me, I want to own a certain amount of properties. I want my kids to get a really good education. I want to be mortgage free by a certain age. And because of all of those, I want to be able to go on holiday, once or twice a year. I want to be able to drive a nice car that, that's also good for the environment. So there are certain things that I have in my mind. And because of that, I have certain pots. And as I say, I have my tracker. So that's why I really feel that sort of money is important. I mean, at the end of the day, I suppose my mum and dad were my steer on how to organise money. My dad said to me from a young age, why pay someone else's mortgage? So what he meant by that is if you just leave uni and carry on renting, because I did rent while I was at university, if I'd continued to rent after that period, I would have just been paying someone rent and they'd use that rent to pay their mortgage, and I would never have actually got to get the property. So at the end of the day, it is difficult to get on the property ladder now. It's even harder now than it was then, but there are ways and there are means. You also, as I said, need to sort of manage your money if you want to take a career break. For years I was an accountant, and if I'd actually saved up my emergency fund pot and had some money put aside, I could have left being an accountant years ago and went on to being a mortgage advisor. I literally changed careers when my dad passed away, and I also got made redundant. And I suppose my dad passing away, I really realised that life's too short, and that's why I was just like, for once in my life, I'm going to do what I want to do. And two, I did get some money when I left that employment, so I was able to use that to sort of get myself up and running. But other than that, it's really important for you to have an emergency fund, because things can come up all the time. You may want it to have a career break, you may want it to change career, you may want it just for a rainy day in case something does come up and you do need the money. So there are so many reasons for having that kind of thing. But unless you understand why money matters, you're not going to know all these things. And the thing is, it's nothing to be sort of ashamed of or anything if you don't understand any of this stuff. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and that's what the world's all about. People are good at different things. So I'm a firm believer in approaching people or asking people to help you with areas that you're not that good at, and then you can help them with areas that you're good at, and then that's the way it sort of goes round. So thanks for listening, and yeah, as I said, it would be really, really good if you put in the comments any questions or any topics around money matters or mortgages that you'd like me to talk about. Thanks for your time.